This is the fourth week of our series. We've titled Navigate, and what Navigate is how we navigate our relationship with God and looking at that through the lens of the book of Exodus. And because we've been spending the last, I believe this is week 9 of our study through the book of Exodus. And as we look through Exodus, seeing just the rise and the fall of the Israelites, and we're seeing how they have navigated their walk in their relationship with God, literally in a desert. But this week, so last week we talked about the 10 Commandments and how godly obedience leads to godliness, which of course makes sense because if you're obeying God, then you should become like God, which is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to become better human beings. We're trying to become more like Jesus, a better reflection of Jesus. And so today in Exodus 32, we are looking again at the Israelites, and this is a very crazy story. And I feel like in this series, the Israelites is almost a story of what not to do, of what we shouldn't do. And this is, again, another one of those stories, a way to not navigate. But let's just jump in. We're going to be hopping around a lot, so hopefully you have a Bible there with you on your phone or a paper Bible. We're going to be jumping around a lot. Exodus 32, starting in verse 1, where we go like this. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain. Pause. Okay, so we started last week we were in Exodus chapter 20, and now we're in Exodus chapter 32. And if you don't remember, God told Moses to get all of the people to go to the base of Mount Sinai, and wait there because they were going to hear the word from the Lord. And so they hear the word from the Lord, they hear the 10 Commandments, but then Moses is still up there for 12 chapters. So when the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, he was still there with God getting the 10 Commandments. And that's Exodus chapter 20, so we have 12 chapters of instructions, 12 chapters. Let's see how many pages it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pages of instructions and things of to do and not to do, and that's a long time. And so what happened? They gathered around Aaron. You guys remember Aaron from a couple weeks prior, right? He was one of the guys with Moses who went on top of the mountain, and when his hands were up, they won the battle. When his hands lowered, they lost the battle. And Moses had two friends, Aaron and Hur. And so Moses went on top of the mountain, and Aaron stayed back. And so he was one of Moses' right-hand guys. And this is what it says. And Aaron, so they gathered Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him." Crazy. So remember, they had just heard 12 chapters ago, "Do not make any idols before me." And here they are, 12 chapters later, being impatient, making an idol before God. So Moses was still with God on the mountain, and he was getting instructions, and the people, the Israelites, the rest of the Israelites, they got bored. And so we see all these rules and instructions and just a long time of waiting and waiting and waiting. And so they say to Aaron, they go, "Yo, Aaron, like, let's build an idol." And Aaron, being the leader that he was, an insecure leader, he goes, "Okay, give me all of your gold, all of your earrings, and we'll make an idol, and we'll worship unto the Lord." And it says, like, they had the right intentions, because it says in here, like, in my Bible, the Lord, when he says Lord, is capitalized. So they meant to build an idol to actual Yahweh God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God that they worshipped. but it was in a way that was wrong, which is another message for another time. There's so many messages and so many things in this passage. It's crazy. Okay, let's jump down to verse 15. They build the idol, and they're worshiping the idol, and then God, because he's God, sees everything, goes down to Moses and says, hey, Moses, you got to get back to your crew. Like, they're going crazy, and it's not looking good down there. You need to jump down there. So, verse 15, we see Moses turned and went down the mountain with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. The tablets were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God ingrained on the tablets. Whoa. So literally the writing of God. I really wonder what that looked like. It was probably perfect handwriting, perfectly chiseled into stone, like my rock hard abs. Anyways, verse 17, when Moses heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, when Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said to Moses, there is the sound of war in the camp. Moses replied, it's not the sound of victory, and it's not the sound of defeat. It's the sound of singing that I hear. So kind of crazy to get those sounds confused. It's not war, it's not victory, it's not defeat, it's singing that I hear. When Moses approached the camp, he saw the calf and the dancing. His anger burned, and he threw the tablets out of his hands, breaking them into pieces at the foot of the mountain. He just broke the 10 Commandments. Like, quite literally. He had the commandments in his hands, and he, sees them, worshiping and dancing, going crazy, and then, boom, what the heck? He flipped his lid. He got so angry. Verse 20, and he took the calf the people had made and burned it in the fire. Then he ground it to powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. Whoa. That's like when your dog goes to vomit and they go back to eat it. That's gross, disgusting. We don't need that word picture in our mouth. So Moses he's ticked off, runs down the mountain, throws the 10 Commandments, goes to Aaron and says, dude, what the heck happened? What happened? I told you, I put you in charge, and this is what happens. And then Aaron blames it on the people. He doesn't blame it on, he doesn't take, he doesn't take the blame. Yes, you're right. I'm in charge. I should have stood up. I should have done the right thing. No, he blames it on the people. A terrible leader, a terrible example of what to do when you're a leader. Verse 25, when Moses saw that the people were running wild and that Aaron had let them get out of control and so become a laughingstock to their enemies, so he stood at the entrance of the camp and said, whoever is for the Lord, come to me. And all the Levites, what's up, Levi? Levites rallied to him. Then he said to them, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Each man strap a sword to his side, go back and forth through the camp from one end to the other, each killing his brother and friend and neighbor. 28, the Levites did as Moses commanded, and that day about 3,000 of the people died. Then Moses said, you have been set apart to the Lord today, for you were against your own sons and brothers, and he blessed you to this day. Verse 30, the next day Moses said to the people, you have committed a great sin, but now I will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. Okay, so we just see this crazy passage, this crazy story of the Israelites rebelling against God, so many terrible things of what not to do, so many crazy things happening. There's impatience, there's disloyalty, there's anger, then there's loyalty, then there's killing. The list goes on and on. But what's at the root of the story? What's at the root of the issue? And if I were to boil it down, I would say this is what was at the root cause of the issue. It was, for the Israelites, it was what was competing for their heart. What was competing in their heart. What was competing in their pride, in their humanness, in their brokenness. It's where their heart's loyalty really sat. And you see, for me, I think it's the same exact thing. And the big idea, the big question for this message is this: what is competing for your heart? What is competing for your heart? There's so much competing for our attention. There's so much competing for our hearts. There's so many things competing for our time. I don't know if you've watched on Netflix. There's this new documentary. It's called The Social Dilemma. And it's like all about social media and just all of the crazy things that apps and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, Snapchat, every single thing, every single app is competing for your time on their app. And so, like, literally, we're getting addicted to social media. We're getting addicted to our phones, and it talks about how every single app is competing. And like the algorithms that know us better than we know ourselves. The moment you get a notification from an app is an app drawing you back to itself. It's competing for your attention, competing for your heart, competing for your time, competing for every single thing. And all of these things, if they aren't God, if they aren't godly things, they're counterfeit. All the things that are competing for our attention, competing for our heart, are counterfeit if it's not godly and if it's not God. It's competing. And speaking of competing, I want to do a little competition. I need to grab my wallet. I've got a $100 bill. Does anyone want it? Everyone, right? You want a $100 bill? Y'all want a $100 bill? All right, this is what we're going to do for the $100 bill. We're going to play a good old-fashioned game of green light, yellow light, red light, all right? All right? So this is what I want you to do. If you want to play, stand up, throw your mask on, and then start behind the camera. Start behind the camera. Green light, yellow light, red light. Green light. Levi, it's yours. Levi, it's yours. Hold on. All right, everyone sit back down. Levi, you can stay up here. Levi, you can stay up here. It's yours, my dude. Would you read it for me? What's it say?
For motion picture use only.
Hold on, can you say that a little louder?
For motion picture use only.
That's right. You can sit down. I'm sorry, you just got played. For motion picture use only. This is a fake $100 bill. Funny story. I actually got this for my birthday. Someone thought it was a real $100 bill, but it ended up being a fake. And I thought one time I'm holding on to this because it's going to be a perfect sermon illustration. You see, in our lives, there are so many things that are competing for our attention. There are so many things that are competing for our heart. So many things that look so good, that look so real, that look so authentic, that seem so good, that seem so amazing. But until you get close enough, until you hold it in your hands, until you look at it and read it, you see it's empty, you see it's fake, you see it's fraud, you see it's counterfeit. Man, with our sexuality, with the things that we think are going to give us a true desire, true value, true worth, true meaning, true purpose in our life, all these things that are competing for our heart, competing for our attention, are counterfeit if it's not from God, if it's not something godly. But by the moment you have it in your hand, it's too late. The moment you lose it, it's too late. You've already lost because you fell for the counterfeit trap. You fell for the trap. The things that compete for our joy, our love, our happiness, our peace, they're counterfeit. If it's not from God, if it's not godly. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is competing for your heart? What is competing for your attention? Is it weight getting dragged down an alleyway that is currently competing for your attention? Is it something out of your control that is competing for your attention? Is it something wrong? Is it something impure? Is it something that seems right, feels right in a moment, but it's not eternal? It's not godly. It's not good. Do you see what is competing for your attention? Do you see the things that are drawing you away from God? Do you see those things that are drawing you away from God? Do you know the things that draw you close to God? Do you know the things in your life that draw you close to God? If so, why do we do more things that draw us further from God than things that draw us closer to God? Think about the time you spend in your day. Are the things that you do drawing you closer or drawing you further away from God? And now, of course, this is just a figure of speech. Nothing we can do actually takes us away from the love of God. God is near, God is close. But there are certain things in our life that when we do them, they seem like we are distancing the gap between us and God. Distancing the gap between us and what God has called us to do. And so for you and for me, do we understand the things that draw us near to God and draw us away from God? If so, why do we do those things more often than not? I guess I can just speak for myself. I feel like in my own life, I do more things that draw me away from God than draw me closer to God. And it's because those things might be more fun, might not need to be as serious, might be a little less time consuming. But sometimes it's hard to just sit and read scripture. Sometimes it's hard to pray. Sometimes it's hard to leave the house on a Wednesday night and go to someone else's house for small group, for home group. Sometimes it's school gets in the way. Sometimes family gets in the way. Sometimes my wife gets in the way of my relationship with God. But for you and for me, do we know those things that draw us away from God? And do you know the things that draw you towards God? My challenge for you this week would be that you would write out a list of the things that draw you nearer to God. What things draw you closer to God? What things, when you do them, you feel like your relationship with God is thriving, is better, is growing? And then write out a list of the things that draw you away from God, that make you covet, that make you want things that aren't your own, that make you angry, that make you proud, that make you insecure, that make you want to change for the worse. Mark a list of both the good and the bad. And then honestly ask yourself, which more of these things am I doing? Am I doing more good or am I doing more bad? Which is it? And you have to be honest with yourself. That's the only way you're going to grow. That's the only way you're going to change. You have to have an honest intake and go, man, I am doing more things that are harmful in my relationship with God. I'm doing more things that take me away from God. And my challenge to you is that you would write down that list. And then you would make a change. And it doesn't have to be the full list. But maybe go, okay, this week, I can actually get up 15 minutes early. Not just on Monday, because I'm excited and, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it this week. But actually, put it in on your alarm. Like, create 15 alarms if you have to. 5:45, 5:46, 5:47, 5:48, 5:49. I'm getting up at 6 o'clock and I'm going to spend 15 to 30 minutes in the Bible. I'm going to find a devotion plan on YouVersion and I'm going to complete it this week. Daily. I'm going to have a daily devotion. And just try it for a week. See what happens. See how you starting your day like that, how it changes things. Are you spending more time on the things that are harmful or the things that are helping you and your relationship with God? Because the things that are harmful, they're counterfeit. They're fake. They're phony. They seem real. They're worth standing up and playing a quick game of red light, yellow light, green light. But when you get close enough, you see it's fake. You see this isn't really Benjamin Franklin. It's for motion picture use only. What is competing for your heart? What's competing for your attention? Do you know those things? Do you know where you're weak? And do you know where God wants to help you? Where God wants to build patience in you? This whole story would be avoided if the Israelites were patient, if they waited on the Lord. But instead of them waiting on the Lord, instead of them reflecting on the commandments that He gave them, they said, we're tired. Did Moses forget about us? I'm bored. I'm just going to sit in on YouTube. Oh, that's just me. I'm bored. I'm just going to scroll through TikTok. I'm bored. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. Instead of going, no, what can build my relationship with God? Because that's eternal. And I'm telling you, high school student, if you can develop this character trait now, it will save you so much harm in your life. It will save you so much anxiety in your heart. It will save you so much, it'll build you so much joy in your heart. If we can just focus on the things that make us better, that make us more like Jesus, because that's what lasts. That's what matters. That's what God desires. We're going to sing a little bit more worship, and then we're done. But I want us to just reflect, and we're going to sing that song again that we already sang, that there's nothing better than you. God, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than God. Everything else is counterfeit. There's only one Creator, and everything else is counterfeit. Would you pray with me? Jesus, we thank you for this time. God, we thank you for your word, and we thank you that you are with us. And God, I pray that as we worship you, I pray that as we focus on you, that we would understand that nothing is better than you. That there is no one like you, there is none beside you, that you and you alone are worthy to be praised. So God, be with us, go before us. It's in your name. Everyone said, amen. Hey, CY, thanks for watching with us. We hope you enjoyed this message. Hey, are you tired of watching video messages? Then maybe you should join us a Sunday morning for Sunday service, and it happens at our office space. And also, we'd love to see you in person Wednesday for home groups. All you have to do to get all the information for us is follow us on Instagram at community.yth, or you could text the phrase at CY-HS to the number 81010. There you'll find all of our information, all of our details. We'll send you text updates throughout the week for all the good things happening. You'll get a text with a link to an address for your home group that you do not want to miss this Wednesday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Again, at CY-HS to the number 81010. We'll see you there. We love y'all. Peace.